What's up today, guys? Today we're going to start a little mini series of sprucing up the old 66. And this is going to be posted. It is currently July, but this will be posted November, October, November, December, sometime in that time frame. So I guess we'll get started here. So I have a sneaking suspicion that this 250 that I have in here has a dead cylinder or a very weak cylinder, or a couple of them, maybe weak valves. I don't know. It rolls coal quite a bit. Could be the carburetor, but I just kind of want to do a little tune-up on it. So in today's video, we will check the point gap, check dwell, set RPM, check timing. Because I have had this distributor slip on me. It was probably when I was messing with putting the oil filter on, because to be honest, this area here moving around, if this isn't tight enough, I could see myself bumping that a little bit and moving it, changing my time. So with that being said, I'm going to pull the distributor cap off and we will take a look at point gap, and then we'll check dwell. Alright, so I got you on the magnet there. I'm going to, I don't remember if this just screws in. It's been right here or so since I've done this. That screws in. Okay. I should have got a different screwdriver, but I didn't. I'll describe the smell to you right now. It's very oily. As you can see, the engine is covered in oil. I need to give it a bath at some point, but I haven't. So I had been daily driving this for a while. Rotor looks good. There's some tarnish in there, burnt marks. It's burnt. Some spots where it's arcing or something. Let's take a look at this. This is arcing a little bit. It's a little crusty in here. Let's pull this up. Flip this up like that. It'll hold up. I gotta remember to put this rotor in. I need to drive the car tomorrow, so I need to make sure, pay attention to what I'm doing there. Oops, dropped my bookmark. So I have my motor's manual from 71, and I'm going to look at the 67 250 here, just because I guess I could use the 66 one, but the deal with the Chevy 2 here is it is not, it's a 67 motor in my 66. They didn't put 250s in 66s, they only did it in 67. So, I mean, it's the same as a 230, so I could just go off that, but the specifications are all the same. So we're looking for 0.019 for the point gap and 31 to 34 dwell. We'll reference the 700 RPM here later, and the 4 degrees be before top dead center. So let's go back up here. So now that you're above the distributor there, I need to find it. There it is. Let's see what our point gap actually is. I'm going to turn the motor over. Should be right there. So I'm on the peak. You guys can't really see it because of the weird angle. You can see that hopefully that the points are open. I'm kind of curious to see what they're at. I think usually I have a hard time setting these. If you've ever set them, well, you might know the struggle. Ooh, these are all oily. I should not. I should probably clean these first. I don't want to get a bunch of oil. On my points. So the first one I'm going to go with is a 19, just to see where we're at. And it is actually tight. Okay, partially because I think it's got a spot in it. Check it on the side, it's a little wide. Even on the side, it's a little tight. I'm guessing it's 17 or 18, so my points are a little tight. That's okay, they'll wear in. Don't you worry about that. Let's go with let's guesstimate here. We'll go 17, because I think that's, so I checked this about a year ago. I think it was a year, and you'll see I paint markered the crank, and we'll talk about the harmonic balancer when we get to that point. Yeah, I think we're 0.17 or 0.18. There's a pit in the middle as points get. Yeah, it's 17, so I'm trying to grab around that. It's not the proper way. I should probably file it, but we're about 17. Points are a little tight, but I'll live with it. I'm not going to complain. So let's put the rotor back in. Make sure it's clean. Give it a smell test. Okay. So to check the dwell, I'm going to get out my good old Penny's dwell checker here. The screen is almost all but it's cleaning up. We're rubbing it. It's cleaning up. It was pretty rough there for a bit, but it's looking better. So you can see I already got it set to 6-cylinder. Every time I do this, I have to read how to do it because I don't check dwell very often on it. I don't check dwell very often at all. So let me fire up the car. We'll go ahead and hook this stuff up, and we'll see what our dwell is. Should be 31 to 34. Well, as you can hear, the old girl runs a little rough. It runs a little bit better after you clear it out running it down the road. Let's try not to get anything caught up here in the... I don't want to shock the shit out of myself. This is, according to this, my dwell's about 30 currently. On the 6-cylinder side there, you can kind of see it. There's a nice smudge mark right in the middle. So we're a little off. It kind of bounces to 31, but I think that'll be okay. Car going by. I really wanted to check the RPM. I forgot to put the laser tack on the fan blade, so we'll have to do that. But you can tell she's starting to run a little rougher. Like I said, it does clear out after a bit, but let's shut her off. I'll put that laser tack on there, or the tape, and then we'll fire her back up. So the next step I'm wanting to do now that we've checked all this, we know our timing's probably a little advanced. But my main problem is this thing just bellows. It runs rich. Again, it could be the carburetor, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it's the engine. What I want to do now is I want to confirm what actual RPM I'm at. So I went and put a piece of tape on the fan pulley. I also have this. I want to compare what my RPM is versus the tack inside to see how far off I am or where everything's at. Now we just got to let it warm up, and then we can set the idle. 700 I believe is what it says. I got to get a different screwdriver, I realize that. I'm trying to sneak back between the air cleaner here and hit that idle speed. Actually, I don't need that. It's over on the other side. That's the fuel mixture. So it says it's about 90 degrees today. It doesn't feel that hot, but we'll take a look and see what it check out our temp. thermostat yet, but I'm assuming it's probably pretty warmed up. Carrying okay coil pressure for under 1,000 RPM. I think GM is 5 PSI per 1,000 RPM, so we're sitting pretty. One of the things I forgot was to put a vacuum cap on the dang on vacuum advance before I do this, so I'm going to shut it off. We'll restart it real quick. Alright, here we are, back at it. Heat soaked there for a second. It's not running all that bad. What do we say up here? It looks like 5, 6, 7, 7.5-ish. Okay. Now I've tried setting it with the dwell tach meter, but with it on high it says 7-ish. I guess if it's under 1,000 it should be, but it it reads way out of scale, so we'll just stick to this. I'm curious. Yeah, if I go back to this, saying we're about 31, which is right on the spot where we need to be. I don't know how accurate this is anymore. It's pretty old. I mean, it's not JC pennies, it's just pennies. It's older, it's way older than me. Let's take a look at the laser tach. Laser tach says about 700-ish. Oh, that's way off. Come on, bud, here we go. I gotta hold it just in the right spot here. We're about 700-ish. So I'm gonna live with that. Now we'll check the timing. I forgot to talk about that's the next thing. I forgot to talk about the dang on my bounce. Alright, so I got my $10 Sun inductive timing light, which I've used before and burnt on headers. Obviously this won't stick there because that's brass. So see if we can get down to where we can. I may have to just hold it. Trying not to get it in the fan because you got to come to the other side for this. Well, our timing is definitely off. Let's see if we get down here so you can see this. I'm gonna have to shut this off to recount and refigure out, but I'm pretty sure that blue dot, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but the blue dot is actually where the yellow line's supposed to be. So let's go, let me put everything down and shut it off and re-clean everything. So before I start, because I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this too well, but down there, it's all hot now. There's a 0 and an A. And 0 is 0 advance, obviously, and A is advance. There's a little blue mark on that tab, and that's where I need that line to line up with. Well, it's lining up down at the 0, so it's telling me I bumped the distributor. Or I'm jumping teeth, one or the two. I'm not sure. So I'm going to try to adjust it back to where it needs to be. And then we'll kind of see how it looks. I'll probably adjust the RPM at that point. I'm not sure why this distributor clamp isn't holding it down very well, but it's slightly annoying. So maybe I'm not getting it tight enough. I'll have to snug her up. So let's take a look at that. If you're new to this game, 6-cylinders use these goofy wire clamps. It doesn't look like it's moved, so it must just be the points wearing in or something, because I did mark it. Let's come down here. Last time I did, oh man, these radiator hoses are hot. Oof. Let's do it one-handed here. So I did mark the distributor. You can see my little paint pins. So I'm kind of curious why stuff's moving and what's moving on me. Is it the motor? Is it my points wearing in? My dwell changing? Something doesn't seem right, but I don't know if it just didn't move very much or what, but we'll loosen it up. reset it, I guess. Kind of see where we're at. Could be the harmonic balancer moving. I don't think so, but it could be. So at least we got a paint pen mark there, so if I have to go back, I kind of know where to go back to. So let's do some adjusting and see where we land. Showing 2 degrees retarded. I didn't get it loose enough. I'm not sure if you can see that. Oh man, it moved on me. Something changed because I had it set about 5, now we're about 7. Maybe I'll just leave it there. Yeah, see it's fluctuating a hair. Now it's close to 8. Why is it shifting? Shouldn't be pulling advance. The vacuum advance is unplugged. I'll move it back down to 6 here. I'm not even sure if you guys can see that or not. Let's go and I'll show you how to do the distributor side of it. This camera's getting pretty hot. I don't know how long it's going to last. It's going to eat up battery. you take the funky wrench and there's a bolt down here. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. You don't want to get it real loose like I did that first time, where it just goes crazy. See, now it's changing. I can physically hear it change on me. I think it was recording. It wasn't flashing. Kind of worried me there. It's back to where it was after I loosened it and tightened it. I'm not sure why it's fluctuating. I'm going to put some Rizalone or something in here because I can hear the lifters talking a little bit. This motor's been pretty well abused. I might try doing the compression test at some point when I get the time. A little too hot outside now to do it, but the motor seems to run a little bit better now that it's warmed up. Let's check the temp actually. Temp looks pretty good, so carrying about 20 psi if that's true. Under the RPM where I wanted to be, but it seems to be running good. Probably ought to tune the carburetor at some point, and then yeah, talk about what other projects I got to do on this. Boy, this thing keeps shutting off. It is hot. Poor GoPro out in the sun, in the engine bay. Anyway, so I'll talk about some of the projects I got going on that we'll probably do here later. Might work on tuning the carb a little bit better. I don't really want to pull it off. This is a Reman one from Rock Auto. It's actually a fairly new one. I bought it within the last year or so. Maybe 2 years ago. I used to daily drive this car, but last fall I kind of quit driving it as much. Went over to the Volkswagen. And I was glad I did that during the winter because we had that tremendous amount of snow one night and I was working second shift. And Volkswagen couldn't make it. And I doubt the Chevy too would have. It would have. It probably would have been a little bit of a mess. But let's take a look at some of the other projects we got going on. One of the projects I'm going to work on later this weekend is I'm going to replace these elliptical washers for the camber because I am wearing tires pretty bad, and last time I had it up to do an alignment I realized those were pretty wore out, so it's just probably time to take care of that. My front core is getting rusty. I just realized that. Probably gonna have to put a speedo cable in it because it's dripping oil all over my exhaust and it stinks terribly. Another minor project is I got to replace this seat cover, so that'll be a short episode on doing that. It might end up being a long episode on doing that. These are O'Reilly's ones. They worked pretty good for a couple years. Again, I was daily driving it, so it kind of wore out pretty quick. So we'll go ahead and replace that. So hopefully those kind of projects will interest you, and if you want to stick around and check those out, I'll probably have those later. Videos coming out here soon. Kind of trickled in with some other videos to get through the winter. What else can we talk about this poor old car? Hopefully I can get it out. I'm going to drive it tomorrow. Got to go work on the 47 GMC EC303. If you haven't seen that video, you ought to check that out. I'm going to work on the valves tomorrow, so the last video hopefully on that for a while at least. Let's check that out if you haven't, because I know it's already come out by the time this video will come out. Again, thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps someone at least get a general idea of what they need to do if they have to do it. And then, yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.